Cancer. This is your September 2023 soul story. If you have a sun rising or your moon is in the sign, this reading might resonate. It's Romy. Thank you so much for joining me, taking the time to tune into the channel. We're going to open up for your month ahead with the world. Now, where confusion has reigned, clarity will come. There's a stillness in September that, regardless of any external noise and perhaps continuing drama that might be going on around you, you're able to tune into this stillness, and it's really helping you to trust and to advocate for yourself and to realize and appreciate that you have sort of reached this point of culmination, you know, a closing of a chapter, so to speak. And, you know, there's something in that to be celebrated, and it's really important that from early on in the month, you give yourself really powerful recognition for not only what you've been through, but how it's challenged you and how it's changed you. Venus goes direct on the 3rd of the month, and you know, we owe it to ourselves as we navigate through these spiritual lessons to not only accept and acknowledge what they've been here to teach us, but also then to appreciate and realize the adjustment or the change that we now want to make within ourselves. And that's what gives us the green light. That's what enables us to move forward from the experience so that we don't end up in a kind of repeat loop. So this month I see you as you now start to witness the clarity, particularly in these Venusian themes around personal relationships, around what's been going on with your finances and your money, around how you value yourself and the ways in which that shows up in your world. And there's a sort of exploration and an experimentation through September of you starting to put things into practice that are about the changes that you want to make for yourself. Now, it doesn't need to be all at once, and in fact, you know, I would urge you not to try to kind of race ahead. We're sort of in an energy that feels the lights are amber turning to green. Yeah, we still have planets in retrograde, and you know, there are still some things that you're trying to navigate, some stresses and perhaps even some fears of the what if. You know, any point when something comes to a point of completion or closure, even if we're ready for it, even if we've wanted it, and you know, in some circumstances when we haven't, you know, it can bring about that sort of trigger response that kind of says, well, what now? And transitionary experiences are difficult and messy, but they are necessary and they won't be around for long. So I need you to, if you're feeling into some sense of limbo or some sense of kind of uncertainty or even dread that might be kind of, you know, going on in terms of some specific situation for you, these circumstances are very temporary. And what you need to remember is that when you act from a place of love, not for a place of love, i.e., you know, you're not looking for the validation in terms of what it is that you're doing, that everything comes just through because naturally you feel it's the right thing to do and it's how you're being guided forward. A lot of these things won't come to pass. So these are all our sort of worst case what if scenarios. And I think September delivers a different kind of cosmic conversation for you. Jupiter will go retrograde on the 4th of the month, and so, you know, the planet and its benevolence, you know, remember, wherever it casts its gaze, there's expansion. And so when it's retrograde, it's expansion within us. And so we have an opportunity over the next few weeks to really start acting as if, to consider the things that we want, what we desire, and to change our thoughts, to express our energy, and to start embodying that life so that when it goes direct, we can start to see the material manifestation of that arrive for us. Now, we have a really beautiful conversation on the 8th of the month where the sun trines with Jupiter, and the blessing that arrives in and around that time for you is going to help you to make peace with something. The 8 of Cups tells us it's time to move on. And, you know, the world is sort of advocating this as well. So, you know, as you move through into this next chapter, there's a sense of a different type of rhythm and routine that you are trying to kind of bring forward. And it's different to anything that you have experimented or sort of really allowed for in your life before. I feel connected to that is promises made. So that could be promises that you've made to yourself or that people have made to you. There's this kind of wait and see a little bit through the month of September. We certainly have a more diplomatic and a calmer environment with which to have important discussions. Okay, so we also get to move on from some of the frenzy and some of the more challenging roadblocks that might have meant that you were just simply unable to find yourself communicating on the same page as somebody. And so, as you have and you feel more ready to open up with these conversations, I think you're going to be met with a more respectful and patient willingness to be able to listen to your side of the story, to your needs. It is a negotiating month, and so the important thing for you to remember in all areas of your life, personally, professionally, you have to be really clear about the intentions that you have, what you want to come away from those discussions, because if you haven't done that or you don't feel fully prepared, it almost seems to me that you come away feeling that you've gotten less than you deserve, or there's something that you skipped over and it was vitally important to you, but just in the moment you were a little bit more reactionary rather than sort of getting out ahead and being more in control of that situation and that energy. So, as you consider and reflect upon where you're ready to move on, and part of that is because you're ready to kind of move up, because there's an expansion. And when we've naturally expanded, when we've grown, then situations that have perhaps, in the past felt incredibly comfortable or, very much a rooted part of our experience, now become something that we can no longer tolerate. And, there's a lot of reflecting going on with that. But what I see is you being able to kind of dissipate and dissolve a lot of what that fear and anxiety might represent. But back to these promises that are made. And I think, as you sort of give yourself permission to say, well, okay, this is the commitment I want to make, or this is the commitment that I'm planning to put into effect with someone else, or, with a situation and energy. It's also just about appreciating, especially in Virgo season, it's your third house, which is challenging the way that you think. But there's also, as that is like a Gemini ruled house, it's a very sort of short-term, temporary, this is a bridge. This is a kind of like, we have to play with lots of possibilities till we see what's going to be the right way forward. Now, remember, doubt visits just before a big breakthrough. Okay, now Pallas Athena, the Asteroid Goddess, is going to shift in to the sign of Libra on the 13th of the month. And we also have Vesta, Asteroid Goddess, moving into Cancer. There's new innovative solutions that are coming forth at this time. Mars and Libra as well. Again, we sort of have the diplomacy that we need. The Emperor I really love for you because it's going to put you in a more empowered control environment that you feel like you're operating at your best. So you might have been sort of forced or, having to, in the last few weeks or months, navigate or deal with things perhaps in an energy that was out of your comfort zone, even in a place or an environment that wasn't serving or suiting you. What I see happening is you being incredibly aware of, how conducive having the right space around you is to you being able to step forth in your best energy. So I see you wanting to do things on your terms and actually being able to get your way in some regards on that, but that's because your intentions have to be super clear, when they sit behind it, okay? I want you to remember that through the course of this month, you also need to be asking yourself on a daily basis, what is it that I truly need in this moment? Is it comfort and nourishment, or is it solutions and inspired action? And maybe it's a little bit of both. But again, as you're really clear about what body, mind and soul, because remember, Virgo is that custodian, that caretaker of your well-being and wanting to, anchor you into that earth energy medicine, but also to kind of help you to navigate on the day-to-day routines and how you move through the world, how you show up to be of service and ensure that it's coming in a balanced way. And again, we've got equinox showing up this month as well to kind of even further illuminate that message. The Emperor is a strategist, And this is a month where you are creating a new plan around something. Loosely, it's based on this promise or series of promises that you've been making with yourself or with others. And again, it feels like we still have more information. We're still not quite as informed as we'd like to be. We have Mercury still retrograde till the 15th. But the new moon will come in on the 14th in the sign of Virgo, and it will help you to deploy some sort of necessary practical foundations around things. But it's also the time to step up and actually bring a little bit of gravitas and assertiveness to a particular situation. If you've struggled to truly express your wants and needs, or you felt like you haven't been listened to, this is the time where I see almost like the energy kind of coalescing to sort of get you in a place where, you know, even if it's just for a couple of hours, you really feel, I'm ready to do this, I'm ready to sort of say this, and that's all you need. It's just that little bit of Dutch courage, you know, just for that short period. And it's amazing, like, kind of what can transpire around that time mid-month. Okay, the same day that Mercury goes direct, which is the 15th, right in that new moon energy, the sun also trines with Uranus, and so we have a little plot twist coming in here. This is what I mean. It's like if you can take a bit of a leap of faith around that time, really trust in yourself and come at it from, you know, that emperor archetypal energy that says, you know, I'm fully in control of my own destiny. The strategy I'm creating is not just for today, but it's also about the vision that I have for the future. I'm not going to be needlessly wasting resources. I'm very careful and mindful, and I'm drawing upon that maturity and that experience that I can bring to bear in this situation. Yeah. And I will exude and exert that level of sovereign power within myself. Then we have this kind of plot twist, this interesting piece of news that seems to land at the exact right moment and kind of further strengthens your message. So it almost feels like the universe is just going to come in and give you like a little cosmic boost, and, you know, something else that if people were on the fence or if they were still unsure about what you were saying or what you were thinking, it's like it's irrefutable now because this completely backs it up. So something surprising, but certainly in your favor coming in again around that mid-month period. Okay. The other thing that I think is going to be coming through for you this month is this reflection around what it is that you're longing for. And, you know, as we witness the sun moving into the sign of Libra, we come into fourth house energy. Everything comes close to home. You know, we're tending and reflecting upon our sense of security. And, you know, I think it's a month that's helping you to create space for what it is that you're longing for. But that means you have to address where your loyalty has sat with people, or situations that aren't necessarily serving you. Perhaps you thought that the alignment to those things were going to help you to fulfill that longing, but the Ten of Swords kind of tells me that actually no, there's a realization that in many ways I'm not going to be able to move forward on this quest and really satisfy and nourish myself in all of the ways, body, mind and soul, that I deserve if I continue to be a part of this energy dynamic. And, you know, 9 and 10 of Swords are not easy energies to work with, but they are powerful in as much as they're bringing about a very clear realization for you. And again, you know, this emphasis of endings coming forth is incredibly powerful through the month of September for you. And it's a seasonal change as well. And remember, the earth shows us so beautifully how to transition. You know, each and every day we see the sunrise, the sunset. We welcome equinox and solstice to help us to realign with the natural harmony of how the earth moves. We witness the lunar phases. We see the astrological conversations that take place all the way through the year. And all of these things, if we allow ourselves to be a part of that and move in rhythm with it, because in essence our energy is a part of it, then it can really help us to kind of make peace. And again, even when I'm looking at the 8 and the 10, and, you know, they come in as quite sort of like those, you know, punctuation marks. It's just like, this is a full stop. Like, this is a moment here, you know, where we're really kind of taking stock and we're saying, okay, that's it. It's over. It's done. It's, you know, it's time. But there's a quietness and a stillness with it. It's not coming in with huge drama. It's not coming in this sort of blindsided a scenario. It just feels like it's probably been a long time coming. Yeah, The Eight of Cups is like the culmination of that emotional journey that you've been on, and this is where you have arrived at now. And, you know, when you welcome the equinox coming in on the 23rd, the release energy that comes in is beautiful, because what it's really helping you to reflect upon is, okay, what do I now want to make space for? And, you know, you're preparing, even if you're not fully aware of what you're preparing for, you feel the energy shift, and that in and of itself is helping you to feel much more anchored, okay? There's something also around what you hear. See, there we go, the new beginning coming in with that leap of faith, as we mentioned. But there's something around that equinox, and between equinox and the full moon. So the full moon's going to arrive on the 29th in Aries, yeah? And I feel like you're hearing something from somebody very close to you as well, that also, you know, you then need to make a decision on. You know, there's something that's going to arise around that time. And, you know, it feels a little complicated. And I think in some instances, you know what you want to do for yourself, or what the right thing will be for you. But I don't think it's quite as straightforward as that. I'm going to say to you, just, you know, no judgment, no criticism, and just allow yourself to process. You might just need a little time to allow a specific solution to emerge and present itself that's going to make sense and feel right for you. Because I do appreciate, I think, the way I'm feeling into this is that the impact might just be too much for other people too soon. So there's just like a sort of phased or a staged or kind of like a timing thing in terms of a rollout or something that's going on. But again, your Emperor's sort of indicative to me that, you know, the strategy that you create or deploy, or even that you're coming up with, if it's still in a state of sort of coming together, is going to be the right one. It is going to be the right one. You know, this is like a sort of critical moment of timing for you. It's also a time of harvest, remember. And so, you know, where you have been going through periods that have felt challenging, there's also new ideas that are showing up, and there's also a returning of kind of where investment has been made. Okay, remember, we're working with the polarity of me versus we as we move into the new axis of the Aries and Libra eclipses, and the Libra eclipse in October will be felt already, you know, through the month of September, which again is perhaps why you're seeing some of these doors closing, the world turning, like new things being presented at the same time as things falling away for you. This transitionary experience, remember, is temporary. You know, even if you feel a bit disrupted in your equilibrium, there's still this kind of quietness that you're able to deploy so that you can think straight. Because I said, where confusion reigned, clarity comes for you this month, and a little will go a long way. Okay, so if you're new to the channel, our last 3 cards we cover off in the extended reading. I talk for another 30 minutes or so, Cancer. We also look at a personal question and a relationship card for you as well. You can find the link in the comment and description box underneath. I'm going to go ahead and clarify these cards and just see the direction we might be taking that extended. Sometimes it opens up in surprising ways. So let's have a look here. Now, the soul journeys, the guided meditations I've created for the month of September, we have a brand new equinox energy activation for your rituals, which is really beautiful. And in the shadow, we're going to be working with bringing the unconscious conscious around your intentions. So important, figuring out your why, but also what drives you and perhaps is hidden, you know, that is affecting, delaying, resisting, causing issues in terms of the manifestation of what you want. So vitally important work to be done, and, you know, to be curious and explore. So again, you'll find those over in my website with the link below. Okay. You've got all the queens coming through here. I like this. Sort of supportive of the nourishment and the comfort and the kind of drawing on that experience, but it's also like that inner strength that you need to navigate, you know, through this month. Okay. King of Wands and the Magician with that Fool. I love that for you. Now, all the decks are listed in the comment and description box underneath, okay? Right after that full moon in Aries, just like the new moon, there's also another trine with Uranus, this time Mercury. So it feels connected to what went on. So the validation, the evidence, the news, the message that sort of comes in a little unexpectedly sort of gets another cosmic boost as the revelation of that full moon gives more, and you feel more informed. So again, if you're still feeling a little bit lost or unclear with regards to any particular situation in your world, that gives a powerful impetus for exactly what you want to do and knowing what you need to do, and sort of having the strength and the kind of realization with that surprise coming through. I also think that somebody will surprise you in terms of what they do, and that feels more like a gift of just, you know, hearing something you needed to, or seeing a behavior, and perhaps linked into that promise that we talked about as well. Okay, I'm just going to look at some oracle cards here as well for the extended. We have Mirrors of the Mind. Now, this is my own deck. If you're just new to my channel, Life, Soul, Vision, Oracle. This sacred title, along with Moon Musings, which is my book, available on Amazon. But you can find the links for that below. If you enjoy my work, please do check these out. Rich with creativity and messages to help you on your soul journey. Okay, there's our eclipse revelations. You're definitely feeling the rumblings of that and the impact of what that deliverance of the Libra eclipse is going to be for you. And remember, that's sort of highlighting on your 4th house. So, you know, that can be very close to home. You might be having shifts or changes around your environment, where you work, where you live, where you spend time. Okay, let's have a look at the Crow Oracle for you. All right, you've got the energy of community coming through. And one more, finally, we'll explore these messages in the extended. Okay, you have the Bear and the Cedar leadership. You also have the Spirit Bear coming through in your main reading, so I like that synchronicity. Cancer, thank you for tuning in. I appreciate you so much. I hope you'll join me for the extended. I wish you a beautiful month of September. Enjoy equinox, and I will see you again next time.